doesn't really affect me too much. But my interest is mostly on those third level people who I believe this being did this and wants us to do this, so I'm going to do that. That's the thing that interests me. That I'm glad to actually learn more information on why people believe certain things, why I was unable to believe certain things, why I believe the things that I believe now, and so forth. But yeah.
Well, yeah, it's
Anything
interesting
else?
because well, one thing I was going to add to your sort of point is like I've thought about this in my own life, like the non-denominational Christians who are like, oh, I follow the Bible, sort of. Oh, I don't really like organizational life. So I'm sort of torn here, like which position I'm more critical of. Because on the one hand, the people with the organized religion are just kind of well, because the thing is, the people with the organized religion are just doing what they're told, and as somebody who's very we use the term, what is it, promiscuous teleology, like you want to understand the purpose of everything, like how children are. I mean, I'm still like that even, at 32 years old. But so someone who's just like, well, I follow this because it's what my church is, what I was told, I'm critical of that. But at the same time, my criticism of this other category is they're picking and choosing the parts that are convenient and then whitewashing the other stuff. And then it ultimately their base are based on a giant genetic fallacy. It just comes down to, well, I pick and choose the parts that I say are right, that I want to follow, and I'm going to look the other way on other stuff. So I'm criticizing both, but like I'm not really sure which is better or worse, because you could make the case that you could make the case that the people who follow the organized stuff, they're principled and they're committed, but on the other hand, the latter category, they acknowledge that, okay, there are certain things I can't accept and shouldn't accept, but at the same time, if it all just becomes self-reference, well, it just comes down to what you feel like doing, and then it's like that runs into hypocrisy and other things. So I'm kind of like, I mean, obviously, I'm criticizing both positions, but it's like I kind of take issues with each for different reasons.
Yeah, I I think maybe the people who are fundamentalists who live by the book might be easier to deal with because you can learn the content and be able to predict what they'll do.
Yeah,
But the ones who pick and choose are easier to live among when you don't have to directly deal with them because the chances are they'll pick and choose things that are just generally profitable to them. So you don't
yeah,
necessarily have to, it won't necessarily be, there wouldn't be certain points where they would act rather irrationally to just basic good and bad things. They still have the general good and bad, and they're just like, you just need to figure out what is generally good and bad for humans in this environment, and chances are they'll find a way to do just the thing that's generally positive.
yeah,
Yet with the people who are true believers, there's going to be certain situations where even if this is generally positive due to something that they have a strong belief in, it's something you will not be able to make them budge on. So if you're dealing with them, you'll be able to know to avoid going there and try to find other ways. Whereas if you're living among people, they would in general just try to get the most favorable situation and then go post facto rationalization of why they're not following this part of it. So I don't know. That's a good question. And yeah, for the people listening,
yeah.
let us know what you think. Is it better to
Yeah.
deal with which one you might have more contempt with or more affinity with, the fundamentalists or the cherry pickers of dogma? It'd be interesting
I'm
to
a
see what.
Catholic. I'm a pro-choice Catholic. Okay.
Yeah,
Uh,
I mean,
uh, uh.
because this was it's interesting. Like, I just want to ask, do you really believe, do you believe you know enough about the being that? I guess if you believe you know what the being wanted us to do, you can also take it further and say you believe you know who didn't translate what the being meant. I don't know. It's a quagmire.
Uh,
Thank you for listening. This has been a clip from an actual longer recording that I'll try to leave a link to on the screen or somewhere around here where you're listening to this.
Presents. 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 Presents.
Peasants.
Okay. Okay.